Welcome back to Great Grace and Growth. I am your host, Laura Navaquin, and today I am thrilled to have Amber McCollum joining us. Amber is a private money lender and one of those dynamic forces behind a fund management team. Together with her partners, she's focused on acquiring multifamily commercial properties and small business ventures. Amber's passion for public speaking and inspiring others is as strong as her commitment to real estate investing. In this episode, we'll be diving deep into the strategies and insights Amber uses to navigate the worlds of private money lending and investment. I can't wait. We're thrilled to have you with us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a dream come true, just talking and reaching other people. So I really, really appreciate you, Laura.
Oh, no, I'm so excited. As I shared with you just before we got started on this episode, that I'm really been looking forward to jumping into some questions with you. I've been looking forward to our episode today. But before I dive into any of those heavier questions, can you just share with us and listeners as far as how did you even get started in real estate overall? What was your story, your backgrounds there?
Yeah, I'm not going to take everybody down the longest journey possible, but it, everybody starts somewhere different. And for
Mhm,
me, it really started from a pain point. And I
mhm,
actually love that part of my story because Um, I think when you have a pain point, it creates pressure. And I think if you
mhm,
use the pressure, it can really grow you and scale you and refine you. And so
mhm,
for me, um, I work a regular job, just have been living the American dream, really. And then COVID hit, and I needed an extra income, so I was delivering food during COVID. And at the same time, my father got sick. He did end up passing away, but during all that time, I was just thinking, there's got to be something better. Like I'm
mhm,
doing everything possible. I'm investing. I'm working. I'm killing myself, right? Just doing the things that I need to do to make ends meet. And I also have multiple sclerosis, so it's just really hard. I get really tired, so to work two jobs and take
mhm,
care of an elderly parent, it was really tough for me. And so when my father passed a year and a half ago, I had already thought about being an entrepreneur and doing other things, but I was just like, nobody's coming to save you. And
mhm,
I don't mean that in the sense of like your soul, right? I'm
mhm,
just talking about your humanity. Like nobody's
mhm,
coming to make you be a better person. Nobody's coming
mhm,
to give you money. Nobody's coming to lift you up and let you make it in this world. And I
mhm,
saw what happened to my dad at the end of life, and I knew I didn't want that to be my story. So um, I started at wholesaling, which I didn't like at all. I think a lot of people do that in real estate.
mhm,
And then I realized that I'm good with money and nobody talks
mhm,
about money. And I've managed federal grants in my 9 to 5. And so I'm really passionate about financial literacy and just like talking about money. So I was like, how can I be in real estate where I'm not cold calling? I'm not like doing all of these things. And I thought, well,
mhm,
I can be a private money lender. So
mhm,
I didn't have the money to do it, but I
mhm,
learned that you can go borrow other people's money. You can get
mhm,
credit cards and start an LLC. You can grow lines of credit. And so I just got all this credit and started lending it out for returns. And then
mhm.
I just decided I'm going to move from there to partnering with these multifamily investors and become a fund manager. So that's the really truncated version, but it
Yeah.
started with a why and a purpose and a pain point for sure.
Yeah, I mean, not to say a great story, but just I love hearing your experience with it as well and how you got started. And as you mentioned in the beginning, the key point was that everybody starts somewhere and everybody's stories, slightly different. But the other point that you mentioned as well is that many people start with wholesaling. And I know you didn't like it. And that was interesting to hear myself as well, because that's where we began back in 2015 was wholesaling. And we decided to go with that because of the quick returns and the need to not have capital to invest in it as well. So started with doing that. And then even when we were doing it for a couple of years and we were happy with it or content, we were happy with the returns or what we were making. But every time I found myself kind of like, well, I don't really want to make those calls again. I don't really want to, but I'm like, oh, I would, pep myself up and do the whole cheer talk to myself and be like, well, the returns are great. So like, where else can I do that? Just go make the calls and go do it. It's not that bad, is it? Type of thing. So I think it's really interesting that you had a similar experience. And so I love the thing that you also mentioned too on how you became a hard money lender, because I always thought or think of people as well too. And I think I had, one other conversation with somebody I met in a networking group of how they became a hard money lender, similar to yourself. But I still think mentally the perceived idea of a hard money lender is someone that already has like a boatload of money to lend out to other individuals, but there's other strategic ways to becoming a hard money lender and accessing capital, the same as building a real estate portfolio with other people's money as well. Thank
Yeah,
you for
and
sharing that. Uh-huh.
sure. For me, it's more private and less institutional. So, I view myself as um, like a partner with other people. Like you can negotiate
Mm-hmm.
with me. I don't have preset terms. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
preset fees. It's nothing like that. It's just literally, can we partner together? Do we have synergy? Are you a good operator? Can you give
Mm-hmm.
me a return on my money that's better than the bank? Can we do this together? And do you communicate? And can we, can I cheer you on? And can we be in community together?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I'm curious within that too as well. So I've worked with hard money lenders in the past, and I'm a fan of going that route to build our real estate portfolio. But working with you, and I'm asking for myself or listeners as well. Working with you, do you have certain stipulations or guidelines? So I know sometimes other hard money lenders will say, we still want you to have a certain credit score or a certain portfolio size or value, or will uh, use the appraisal amount of that property as offset to your collateral, if you will, on this loan that we're going in on together? Or what are the stipulations? Are there any? I know you mentioned that you don't necessarily have the certain guidelines like an institution does, but is there a certain parameter of stipulations that you usually follow?
Yeah, I have a buy box, and I just want to clarify, I'm not a hard money lender.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a private lender. So
Okay.
that's going to be a little bit different because I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of hard money lenders, they are either coming from a broker, they pull money together, they
Mm-hmm.
it's a really formalized process. And for me, I see deals pencil out all the time, and a
Mm-hmm.
deal can pencil out, and you can have a bad operator and it not be a good deal. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'll lend 100%. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you need $50,000 for, to get you across the finish line, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm only going to lend 75% or 80% of that. I'll lend it all if it makes sense. If you're a good operator, if you can show me your track record. I don't look at credit score. I don't look at any of that. I don't care about taxes. I don't really care about liquidity. I do care about experience. So that's one main. I don't love fix and flips in this particular market just because I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing a lot of things take a long time. I like a healthy real estate investor. So
Mm-hmm.
someone who's a buy and hold investor who, if something goes wrong with this property, they can either cross collateralize for me or they can say, you know what, this is going wrong. We can negotiate something else, or I'm going to roll you into this other property, or be able to pay you with cash flow from
Mm-hmm.
my property. So that's kind of what I look at as far as buy box, but I'm open to it. I want to scale so much to where this is like regular passive income for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, See a lot of private lenders just, I only want 6-month terms, or, I'll stay in the deal a long time. I don't really have a lot of time. Time's our most precious thing in life. So I'll stay in the deal. If you give me a good return and we have a lot of synergy, I'll stay in the deal, just make my money work for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I love that. Also, now kind of jumping over to you acquiring multifamily commercial properties. How did you get into that? I know that you mentioned with partners, but can you share your approach to acquiring multifamily commercial properties?
Yeah. So I don't have any multifamily properties. My partners do.
Oh,
So
okay.
what I am doing is starting a fund. So I'm launching a fund.
Hmm.
I'm hoping to scale it so big. Like, I think
Mhm,
that you have to have the mindset of, I mean, I want 50 million
mhm,
assets under management at least. And it's going to
mhm,
be a private credit fund. So
mhm,
currently, as a private money lender, I lend to multifamily investors right now. Like, I'm in
mhm,
deals with. And I found such good partnerships there. People that are just really great deal makers, and they target properties that are not necessarily distressed. It's more distressed owners, and they value add and increase from a C class to a B class, if anyone knows
mhm,
anything about commercial real estate. And so I've seen them um, pay me back and really take care of their investors that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go dive into this money thing and start a fund. And it's going to be a private credit fund where I'll be the bank and
mhm,
loan you guys. So eventually, I'd like to take equity in those properties so that I will acquire part of the properties, but
mhm.
as a capital partner. I
Yeah.
also have operators that need money for small business acquisitions, and that's huge right
Mhm,
now. If anybody follows Carl Allen or Cody Sanchez and sees what they're doing, I just want to be a capital partner. Everybody needs money. Everybody needs
mhm,
capital. And I want to be the person that lends to people so that they can achieve their dreams. And in
mhm,
return, give me just a little piece of the pie
mhm,
for bringing the capital together, for being a capital raiser, for managing the funds. So that's kind of my long term goal.
mhm,
And I have the partners already, and
mhm.
I'm on board for sure.
Yeah, that's great. That's exciting overall. And with that, so it seems, it's really promising. But would you say that there's any common challenges that you face with that, or is it just still too new to have encountered any challenges to share how you've overcome them?
Girl, I don't think there's a lack of challenges in anything as an
That's
entrepreneur,
true.
for sure. Um, communication can be an issue when you're
Mhm,
bringing people together. So I've been in a joint venture with other investors where
mhm,
we've put our money together um, in a joint venture agreement to where we will help other people. And it's when you're working with other people, if there's a lack of communication, that could be a
mhm.
problem. I have
Yeah.
a deal right now that I haven't lost my money. It's backed by real
Mhm,
estate, but it's late. And the borrower is very communicative, which I'm really thankful for. But refinances, they take a while sometimes.
mhm,
And so I was expecting that money back. I wanted to get into a different deal that I really liked. And I have my late fees, and I've actually just paused those, and we've renegotiated something else, which I think is the right thing to do and a good thing to do with your private money lenders. But I don't know when I'm going to get the money back. Like, it was supposed
mhm,
to be June, and now we're in August, and
mhm,
um, there's the appraisal just didn't come back as high. We did the underwriting, we penciled it out. That's one of the reasons I really don't want to do any fix and flips right now. I think the market's
mhm,
just so unsteady, and
mhm,
the way we're navigating that is the borrower's just going to start making monthly payments, and that's
mhm,
okay. I'm going to get my money back. It's not gonna be ideal. I wanted to
mhm.
redeploy it, right? And that's not happening, but, I haven't lost anything, and I just think that per the name of your podcast, like, you give people grace. If you're gonna be partners with
Yeah.
people, like, I'm a grown woman, like, I chose to do this. This is what I
Mhm.
chose to do, so if it's gonna be late, then you work something else out, and it'll all come back to you the way it should, so.
Yeah, that's great. I also am curious to ask with the small business ventures. So I know you mentioned Cody Sanchez and all those are kind of leading the ways as far as purchasing these small businesses. Have you done any of that yet? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I have. Similar to wholesaling, I don't like the process of going through
Okay.
business acquisition. However,
Mm-hmm.
I have tried. The deals have fallen through for a few different reasons. So I
Mm-hmm.
almost acquired a towing truck company.
Mm-hmm.
They already had all the equipment, and it just seemed like it would be best. Like, it was going to be very lucrative. Seemed like the owner wanted to just retire, and you could swoop in and just take it over. Come to find out, the employees of the towing truck company, and they had more than one truck, They didn't want to continue to work for a new owner. And for
Mhm.
me, I don't want to, like, I don't want to acquire a business and then run the business. I need
Mhm.
an operator to do that. I have limited time. I just
Mhm.
want to acquire businesses that can run themselves with a good operator, put the operator in place. So for me, when I'm going into negotiations, I want someone that's going to stay there long enough for it to be stabilized to transition to a new owner, which
Mhm.
could be me. But if the employees weren't willing to stay, then I felt like I don't know enough about it, right? And so I
Mhm.
would not only have to find an operator that could then hire employees, but be able to trust them, know that they know what they're doing. So I walked away from that. The deal was really
Mhm.
good. It was a seller finance deal, with just
Mhm.
a small down payment, which is beautiful because if you can
Mhm.
always get into a deal without using much money and
Yeah.
just start making money right away, that would be a really great deal. And then there was another one, which was a med spa that I really liked. I know that those are hot items, and the negotiations went really, really well. But and I was just going to be a partner on that. It wasn't going to be me completely. I was going to bring money to the table for
Mhm.
an equity position. And at the end of the day, it was such one that it gained a lot of interest, and it was kind of like a blind auction. And
Mhm.
so we didn't win the negotiation. So I'm actively trying. I've got other partners looking for deals. Um, and if it makes sense, I'll take it down now.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I really want to lean into the fun space because I've just learned that over the past couple
Mhm.
years. Like if you walk in and say, I have money, cash is king. You can get into a
Mhm.
deal, you can be the loudest in that deal, you can negotiate better. And so if I can start these funds and even offer partners, equity partners, ships in
Mhm.
the fund, I think that I'll be able to be a lot more successful in the business acquisition space for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And then I'm still curious on with the business acquisitions. I know I heard you mention the trucking company and the med spa. Are there any particular industries that you are aiming to focus within, or you're just relatively open? It's more about the deal rather than the industry.
I
So I know
think it's
some
a little.
people, yeah, and the reason why I ask that because I know some people there's certain industries that they just will stay away from by all means or for all means, stay away from like the restaurant industry or certain industries.
Yeah, absolutely. I want it to be recession proof. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be making enough money to make sense because my motto is it takes the same time, effort, energy to do something small as it does to
Mm-hmm.
do something really
Yeah.
large. So if I'm going to put a lot of effort into something, I want it to be to the EBITDA and net cash flow to be pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
I just know a lot of people in the space. So if the deal makes sense, I would take it down. For cash flow, yes. But I'm not necessarily looking for just anything.
Mm-hmm.
I would love anything medical, not gyms necessarily, but medical treatment facilities, things like that. Um, Pet services, I think, do really well. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where I'm leaning. But also, as I grow and scale my own business, like I'm starting a podcast, I want to be on more stages. I have a personal brand I want to grow. So then my mind starts thinking, why not take over like a marketing agency? Why not take over a content space? Like things that are
Mm-hmm.
going to actively build my brand. Services that I'm going to want to be using instead of me paying for them. Why don't I acquire those properties and
Yeah.
then the returns that much better. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
I'm so
great.
new, like I have all these dreams and I am a go-getter, so I know that they're going to come to fruition. But
Mm-hmm.
right now I'm learning so much, and I'm out there taking action.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too, is just always be open minded and continuously learning. So even when we do reach a certain level of success and we have bigger goals and next step up, just understand and know and be like, we have so much more to learn. And things are also always evolving. So that's, I feel like I believe that that leads to continuous success as our goals evolve and change as well. Um, but then my last question pertaining to that specifically, how are you getting these opportunities? And I don't mean to go super specific there, but is it that you are out seeking the opportunities or do you have a channel where they're coming to you? type of thing.
Mhm. So what I'm about to say can be a blessing or a curse. And
Mhm.
you can decide. I am a sucker for a sales funnel. For
Mhm,
one thing, I do believe that it is like I will pay to be in bigger rooms. I will pay for education. I will pay to be in masterminds. I will pay to be in a community if it's going to help me reach my goals. I have
mhm,
paid so much money in the past 12 months to be in so many communities, which I say could be a curse as well because I don't have enough time to take advantage of every single community, but
mhm,
I am active as much as possible into growing my community. So
mhm,
I reach out to people. I try to set up Zooms. I network intentionally. I
mhm,
tell people what I'm doing. If you don't tell people what you're doing, they're never
mhm,
going to know or never going to be able to help you. And I take my role in networking so seriously that I'll help other people before I even help myself. So I'll go to live events and like I went to a live event one time and someone said they were looking for a property management business. I wasn't looking for a property management business, but a few months later I heard someone selling a property management business and I linked those two people together. And the the reward that came from that was I got new introductions. People were like, "You gotta meet Amber. She knows everybody." I'll never claim that I don't know everybody. If somebody says, "Does Amber know somebody?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know him. I'll find him for you if I need to." So, the deals, in some ways, they come to me. I have so many
mhm,
people that I partner with. Like, I put myself out there, and everybody in my network knows what I'm trying to do.
mhm.
So one of my friends right now is reaching out to me and say, "Hey, do you want to go in for an RV park?" I was like, "I don't know. I've never thought of an RV park, but does it cash flow? Like, what's the partnership look like? Like, what can we do?" And I don't necessarily have shiny object syndrome. Like, I have goals. I take action towards those goals. I'm meeting those goals. But along the way, if I know people and meet people and the deal's lucrative and looks good, I'll pivot and try to take it down. So I
Mhm.
think it's just a situation of growing my network.
Yeah. And I think that's such a great point that you made because I was just discussing this yesterday with someone from the same network where we met as well. But how sometimes networks are not necessarily given enough credit or the idea of networking. And I'll say that even for myself, because going back a number of years earlier in my career, I'm like, yeah, I go to a networking event and I'm looking for prospects. Because back when I was in the corporate world, I was in health insurance and I'm looking for
Mhm.
prospects. But really taking a step back now that being an entrepreneur and going out and being involved in various different networks, and not just for the sake of let me find build my pipeline or the way I had perceived it when I was in corporate America, but more so, let me just meet people. It's not always about, your next sale or whatever it may be, but you get introduced to new people, introduced to new opportunities that you didn't even think about just by networking, having conversations, and able to refer other people. And the value of networks is just over the past year alone, it's such a blessing. It's so great,
How do you
really.
network? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I similar. I'm real estate investing. So I left corporate America when my husband and I started in real estate investing back in 2015 in wholesaling, which we did for a number of years. Both had our own corporate jobs. I was in health insurance, so group health insurance is selling insurance to employers to be benefits for their employees. When I left in 2023, I figured I kind of put my head down, and I had my reasons for leaving, just kind of being burnt out and the long hours, a lot of travel, and I have young children and wanting to be home and present and not missing things. So deciding to go into full time entrepreneurship myself and trying to figure out how am I going to make this work. We have real estate investing. I have a nonprofit that we started, but where am I going to make the money to support and replace that salary that I'm leaving behind? And put my head down into real estate and figured we have this. It's paid overall, but I don't really want to do wholesales all the time. I don't mind doing them sometimes, but I don't want to spend each day in and day out prospecting and making the calls for wholesaling. So started looking at other strategies, and what has really helped us grow our portfolio in the past year was the Burr method specifically, and accessing, so really learning how to access other people's money, if you will, so that we can grow that portfolio. Because the first couple of properties we got in our portfolio were our own money. So to save up and put in ourselves would, who knows how long that would take, but really learning the different methods on how to access other people's money and or OPM, and leveraging that to build our portfolio to now 21 doors in just over a year. So
That's a
putting our head
lot.
down. Yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind of a year because it's just kind of figuring it out and going. And I say with most things and anything really, it's that first one or two that is the most challenging because you don't really know. You're learning. It's a learning process. You're out networking, but once you get it going, I'm not saying that things get easier or don't have hiccups. It's just that you get more confident in what you're doing. You understand the process a little bit better. You learn how to navigate some of those problems and those challenges that arise a little bit better. Don't get so perplexed when they arise. Well, I still kind of do when budgets go out of line or whatever they may be. But that's for the most part what I've done over the past year. And then since then, we started growing a community because I started getting more inquiries about how are you doing this? How are you accessing other people's money? What methods are you using? So I was sharing information, social media and whatnot, but then started growing a community where we mentor other aspiring entrepreneurs, or not just entrepreneurs, aspiring real estate investors and beginning real estate investors on some of these other strategies that we have actually done, and then means of accessing other people's money and refinancing and whatnot. So that's what I'm doing. And then now getting more so into public speaking as well at different conferences that are not also all pertaining to real estate investing. More so of my speaking engagements are pertaining to like confidence building, being resilient, because I'm a big advocate of encouraging people to go out and follow their dreams or find a way. And no matter what that goal and dream is, because your dream could differ than mine, but you can still achieve it if you put your head down and go out there and believe in yourself, step out of comfort zones, get up and keep going type of thing. So most of my public or speaking events are pertaining to confidence building and resilience and whatnot. So that's kind of how I spent the last year. I have different plans. So, this podcast, as you know, is relatively new over the past month or so, but just as well trying to share what I know in real estate and other, starting businesses with others, and then bringing in experts like yourself to share their expertise with others as well, because you never know, who's aspiring to be what out there and how this can help them, or at least give them the little nudge of maybe pursue it and go for it. Maybe they've been on the fence thinking about something. So that's my hopes with the podcast as well. So I know it's a long-winded response, but
No,
it's been a whirlwind of a year.
sure. And I love that you shared that. I do want to back up and just apologize. Like I did know that you have I did look into it. So my question
Mhm.
was, how do you network? But I loved hearing your story. So I'm glad you
Oh,
said
I'm
that. I don't
sorry.
think that I came on and was like, don't know anything about you. So no, I love what you're doing. And hey, it gave all of your listeners the chance to like really hear.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm misunderstanding that. But yeah, with networking, with so mostly, with the group that we are members of, and then a few other groups that I go out and network, again, going out to conferences when I can, and some local community groups that I'll go out and attend that are once a month or whatever it may be. And then joining some of them are great that are virtual, but that's as well. I just need to be more of an active participant sometimes, and remember, I try to jump on and take advantage of some of the different things that each of them provide, like webinars and so forth. But that's how I network as well.
One of the things that's been super helpful for me has been joining the Chamber of Commerce because as a small business owner, like
Mhm,
you're around all kind of business owners and
mhm,
they know everybody in the community. They know
mhm,
who invests. They get to know you. And even though like my business is little and I'm not big, huge, flashy, but I'm a member of the chamber and I can
mhm,
go and I talk about what's happening in the community. And even though like I want my reach to be nationwide, getting that granular like community to say, hey, you know me, you see me at the monthly meetings or quarterly meetings, and I'm on the email list. And
mhm,
so, hey, do you want to come invest in my fund? It's not launched yet, but I feel like I'm garnering a lot of just respect and credibility. And so for me,
mhm.
and it's very cheap. It's like I don't know, $80 a year or something like that, which is
Mhm.
relatively inexpensive. So to be able to leverage your network with other business owners who, and
Mhm.
I want to get businesses, so acquire businesses. So just learning from other people, I think that that's been a really rewarding experience for
Mhm.
me.
That's great. I love that you recommend that because that's something that I've been on the fence about considering. I've looked at some local things such as Chamber of Commerce and BNI, and then also just the responsibility of how often do they meet and can I commit to some of those because some of them meet every week or whatever it may be. But I definitely am going to look into that. So thank you so much for sharing the
No
Chamber
problem.
of Commerce.
For me, and it might be different
Hmm.
in your city, but for me, you don't have to go to every meeting. I'm not like
Okay.
part of the leadership, but I do get all the emails, so I know all the happenings. So anyway,
Yes. Love it. Love it. Well, as well, I know that you mentioned your passion for public speaking. So, how has this passion influenced your career, and what steps are you taking to also get more speaking engagements? Or are there any particular types of speaking engagements that you're looking for?
um, excuse me. I have been sick for the past 4 weeks, so I still got
Oh,
this
no.
lingering cough that's coming out. Um, my number one goal is to get on a TED Talk stage.
Oh,
I and I've said this before and I'll continue to say it. I want to grow, I want to scale, I want to be successful. But it's actually not about the money. Money's a byproduct of everything that I want to do. For me, it's about people. So when I measure my growth and my success, it's literally measured in the people that I do business with.
yeah.
Did I help propel someone forward? Did um, I don't know, did I contribute positively to someone's life? And so I think having that passion, I want to open up the minds of as many people as possible to say, you don't have to be in your circumstance similar to what
Mhm.
you're doing, Laura. Like you can have the confidence to get out of this. And a lot of people say, well, my friends and family don't support me. They don't have to support you. Like you have to support you. And you
Mhm.
have a lot of other people who will support you too. And I want to be one of those people. I want everybody to be in community with me. If
Mhm.
I have a very, very small following, but it's a mighty following. So like if if I post something, I have a lot of engagement, like private messages. It's just it's it's rewarding. It's almost like unbelievable because I was private on social media for so long and then I went public and I just meet people and I love them. And so
Mhm.
being able to be on a bigger stage and saying, "Let me let me show you what worked for me. Let me show you this formula that helped me." Doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be in real estate. You don't have to be in business acquisitions or even follow in my footsteps. But do you want to change your life? You can do that. And changing that kind of a mindset changes everything else. It can
Yeah.
help you with your health. It can help you with your well-being, mentally, physically. And I just think we need happier, healthier people. And so that's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I think that's so well aligns with with me overall, and I love that and everything that you said. Thank you for sharing that, and I can't wait to go out. I'm not sure if we follow each other on social media, but I'm definitely going to following this and be there to see all your different posts as well and how you are contributing to everyone else as well. So thank you so much. And one last question for you, I know before we wrap up, is what is one piece of advice you would be able to give them?
I would say that there's a there's a price that you have to pay for success, and you have to be willing to pay it. And some
Mhm.
people think 5 years from now I'll do it, 4 years from now I'll do it. And if you give yourself that mindset of I'll do it later because I don't want to pay that tax right now, I don't want to pay that price right now, then it won't happen in 5 years. You
Yeah.
will only you will only be as successful or as even wealthy as you believe you deserve. And so if you want it, then it has to be today. Like today has to be a life-changing experience. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed 5 years. Um, you're guaranteed this moment. And so, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, it should be now. Like it should be start right now, like this
Yeah.
second. Call somebody, join a mentorship, follow somebody on social media, watch a YouTube video, and then take action right immediately.
Mhm.
I think that's the best advice I can give, honestly.
Thank you so much. And for our listeners, can you share with them where they can find you?
Um, it's just my name, Amber McCollum, on Facebook and Instagram. I'm a little bit more active on Instagram, so um, there's no numbers or any special characters. It's just my name.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to include your links as well in the show notes so that no one will have any trouble finding you. Amber, it has been great to have you on this episode of Great Grace at Growth. I can't express how thankful I am to have you as a guest and your slew of information, your insights into acquiring multifamily commercial properties, small business acquisitions, and private money lending are incredibly valuable. So, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your experiences with us today. And for our listeners, if you're inspired by Amber's journey and want to learn more, be sure to check her out, follow her on social media, and remember to subscribe to our podcast for more episodes like this. Until next time, keep growing with grit and